I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I feel a hand guiding my hand. It's not a hand you can't see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that no matter the terrain, our feet can learn to dance, whatever stone life may sling. We can moan or we can sing. Grateful, I am grateful, grateful, truly blessed and truly grateful. Truly blessed and truly grateful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is, good morning, y'all. All y'all. My name is Michael Mirdad. Those of you who are our guests need not panic. I'm just a guest. But I've been here as a guest many times, and I do love and appreciate coming here. And one of the things I love about Unity as one of the spiritual centers on the planet, because you have different types. I teach at yoga centers or spiritual centers of different types. One of the things I've always said, for many, many years I've said, I appreciate about Unity as a school of thought or thought system, is that Unity still allows that concept, the importance, the emphasis of Christ in our studies and teachings. A lot of times people deviate, they start getting into self, or they start calling, God by all kinds of different names, because it's like some people are under this strange notion that God is old school. God is the only school. But they think of God as old school, and they mix spirituality with religion. And then they think religion's old school, so spirituality's old school, so God's spirit, so it's old school, and they throw it all out. Well, that's just an excuse. It's just another excuse to stay off the path. It's a different excuse to not be committed to what we're really here to do, which is to have our awakening. Before I begin, I want to ask you, and I typically do this in spiritual centers, but I'd like you to search your soul just for a moment. If you have a vision tonight when you're sleeping, and you realize there's a being, God, angels, Jesus, or whatever in your room, you wake up and it says to you, ask me anything. What is it you really believe you need to know to make your life different? What do you need to know? What do you need to hear about? Or what is excessively challenging or consistently challenging that's keeping you or seemingly keeping you from launching quantum leap to another level of your spiritual growth or complete awakening? Do a soul search just for a moment. When you're ready, a few people will blurt out in a word or two. What is it you would say if you're asked? Name it. What is it you want to know? What is it that's holding you back? What would it be?
My passion.
Your passion. Okay.
My purpose.
Purpose, passion.
Peace.
Peace. What is it?
Why are we here?
Why are we here? And one more? Confidence. Okay. Let's go there then. No, we're already run out of requests. Just kidding. See, that's the answer we keep getting, and it's not good. Nice. So we'll stay along those lines. Human beings are, for too long, we're running on our own reserves. And it's important that we recognize our battery has run out. At some point, we've got to go, I don't seem to be great at picking relationships. Oh, no, there's a new website. No. It doesn't matter if the website's called guaranteedhookups.com. I'm still not going to pull it off. Something's going to go wrong. Guaranteed life mate, soul mate, twin soul. I don't care what it says. My history is telling me something may go wrong with this. I can handle my own sobriety, thank you. I don't need 12-step groups. I don't need God. I wouldn't go there. I would just say, you know what? I need to own that what I have been trying to do, even my spiritual growth, even trying to determine what foods I'll eat to be the healthiest I can be, I don't seem to be able to pull it off. No sooner do I switch to this and something else goes wrong. I try to raise my kids a certain way, and yet they still have challenges. At some point, we have to own that we're not able to create ourselves. We're not our best guide, but there is a guide. In A Course in Miracles, Jesus explains, he says, human beings study and they do all these different things to become spiritual, which is fine. He says, but what they don't realize, and some don't even try to be spiritual, but what they don't realize is, we can keep trying this approach of encouraging, spiritual coaching. You're on your way. You're going to make it. Keep going. He says, but in A Course in Miracles, he says, we're not actually going to be doing that. And it's not even going to be the way of spirit anymore. Come on, you can do it. He says, human beings are clearly so stubborn, that's not going to work. He says, what we're going to do instead, starting here in the Course, he says, is we're going to have to teach you something else. Instead of telling you how good life could be with God, because then you guys sit around, it really could be. That's interesting. And then not go there. He says, we're going to do a different approach. We're going to need to explain to you and get you to understand how miserable you are without God. Now, what kind of motivational speaker is that? Wow, Jesus. I've said this many times. I don't think it's his name. I just think it's what he makes everybody say. Jesus. No. So, anyway. So what's wrong with this guy? Seriously? The Christ, and that's the best you can give us? Yes. He says, I can tell you how good God, heaven, love is, but you're not getting there. You're not going. You're not choosing it often enough. So what we're going to do is have a different approach. I want you to start becoming vividly aware of how unhappy you are without God. I want you to realize that you cannot get your relationships to go well enough to forever fulfill you. You cannot eat well enough to forever be healthy. You know, no matter what you do, you're going to age, you're going to die, you're going to have challenges on earth. How do you feel about it? How are you doing with that? Well, I'm good for a while, and then it crashes, and that's called bipolar disorder. Right? Well, I've got this side of me that wants to be spiritual, and I got this other side that just doesn't hang in there with me. That's called multiple personality disorder. Well, I would be doing great except for other people always in my way. That's called schizophrenia. So whatever is your preferred psychological disorder, everybody's got them. Everybody's got them. Meaning, we have forgotten how everything actually works. Yes, in a new direction. Yes, I need my passion. What is my passion? And what we do is, I've got it. There's this new thing I saw on TV, and they were talking about finding your passion. So they told me I can do it. And what you need to do is say, I am nothing. My little self needs to bow so that the greater self can rise. For example, there are all kinds of people, motivational speakers, spiritual teachers, abundance teachers, and they love to emphasize, you can do it. Come on, I believe in you. And I teach it a different way. The title of my once-a-year class I do in around January is Consciously Co-Creating a New Life. And the very idea of saying co-creating, I refuse to do nothing. I refuse to do nothing in my life without God. Anything in my life without God, I refuse. I mean, at what point are we going to own it? I of myself can do nothing. So I just refuse to try to do anything without God. And that's a good affirmation. It's saying, why would I try? So Jesus is saying, you've got to get used to the idea that you're not happy. Oh, but I am, because this and this and this. What you're saying is external things stimulate you. They make you seem happy. That's called addiction. Today, I guess we're talking about a list of various disorders we can all have, you know. And so it's just addiction. And that's all relationships are. They're just transitioning one addiction to another. And when we have people we think we like, as soon as they're not doing things we like, we change them over to the other group of people we don't like. You know, we just trade them in. But wait, there are no people that's schizophrenic. There are no others. Technically, the entire universe is a hologram. And it mirrors ourselves. So what am I seeing? Well, I would be spiritual for you people. Schizophrenia. Go away, I'm trying to be spiritual, you know, and there's nobody in the room with me. God does not actually see what we see. When we say, dear Lord, I'm trying to be spiritual, but you know who I'm married to, right? You know, little allowance here, right? And God, you know, God's like, I said earlier service, no habla inglés. I don't get what you're saying. You know, I no comprende. Like, when we start telling God to, here are the problems in my life. This person doesn't do this enough. This person doesn't do that. This and this and this. When we think it's all outside, technically it's a spiritual form of schizophrenia. Because according to quantum physics, according to true spiritual studies, whether it's Buddhist or Course in Miracles, there is nothing outside other than representations of our inner self. So what we're supposed to learn to do is say, what is this representing? Edgar Cayce said, A Course in Miracles said, all the greatest teachers said this, and for some reason, almost nobody has ever heard of it. This important tool of spiritual awakening. Learn to say, what is this? What is this? What is this thing? There's a bill. Okay, now wait. All powerful, made in the image of God. I am the Christ on earth. I am as God created me. Om. And then you get a bill in the mail. Oh my God. I was happy until this piece of paper that's this thin came into my life and destroyed my day. How is God not to say, wow, that's mental illness? That's mental illness. I'm not being disrespectful to mental illness because I'm saying we're all sick in the mind. Because God is mind and consciousness. And whenever we make up a world that doesn't match God's world, then it's a world that doesn't exist and we're fabricating it. As soon as we decide to have problems that don't exist, it's mental illness. I'm saying they don't exist because in God there's no lack. So where did you guys come up with lack? Where did you come up with sickness that doesn't exist in God? And if God is all, then where does sickness exist? Other than in our mind. We're making up a story that we are not beautiful, holy beings. Now, if I said to everyone, would you all be willing to own that you are truly spiritual, beautiful spiritual beings? Most of you would say yes. Okay. But then, can you say the same thing about the people who have challenged you the most? Oh, no. Because we know they're not. They are your unhealed wounds. Everyone is mirroring. Even as I stand here, you might not even know me. I stand here. I'm still representing something to you and you to me. I stand here and you can say, well, I like this guy. You can even say, this guy is like, wow, great. All it is the light in you that you're seeing more today. So thank you for seeing that in me, and congratulations for seeing that in you. You can say, this guy's an absolute nut. But still, I'm mirroring something in you. So, why is it you like me and why is it you don't like me? What is it you like about me? What is it you don't like about me? Again, the question, what is this for? Jesus says in the Course. You learn to ask, what is this for? How could this bill, see, one of the interpretations of be as children, what do you think it means? Ask questions like a child. How could this bill possibly have any power? If you said to a 3-year-old, I'm all upset, I'm crying, Mommy, what's wrong? This piece of paper arrived in the mail and it's destroying my day. You know, the kid would be like, really? How can it do that? And I'm only asking you to be as intelligent as that. You know, like to go, seriously? You know? And when you say, well, you know, Daddy or Mommy doesn't look good in this, that I thought, you know, I don't look as good as I used to. The kid does not comprehend that. What do you mean? A child doesn't go, you know, Mom, seriously. You know? And the older it gets, the more it does become dysfunctional like that. But really, the kid doesn't notice skin colors. The kid doesn't notice any of that. It only notices it's Mom. You could be naked or clothed, it's Mom, Dad. They reach out for the hug. They don't say, no, not until you get some clothes on. Because, you know, ever since I arrived, you don't look like you used to. You know? All we need, Jesus said, is to be as children. God, what does that mean? See, there's a question again. What does it mean to be as a child? That I don't notice genders and skin colors. I only know love. Mom, love. And I don't even mean the gratuitous, like Mom meaning that's my family member. They just sense love. They just do. St. Francis, you know, animals came to him. They just sensed love. There was no danger in him. They just came to him. He could have been a male or a female, long hair, short hair. It wouldn't have mattered. It's the love. All that matters is love. And we think love as to be a romantic term. Love is an active and powerful term. Love is actually the feeling of God. You know, once upon a time, there's just God, and God is bliss. And then God says, let there be light, and God creates its children. And God is one, so we don't leave God, we're in God. So God expands the day we became existent, and we're part of that. God did not say, I'm going to create a universe, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you know, earth, sun, and all that, you know, animals, and then I'm going to create mankind. Okay, then creates a man and a woman, or however you want to believe that happens, and then takes them like 2 dice and says, good luck, into the universe. It's not the way this happened. I have no idea why that's funny, but okay. But that's not what happened. What did happen? God, which is bliss, said, it feels so good to feel and be bliss that I think I'll create, because that's what creators do, I think I'll create even more bliss. Let there be light, and that was the day we were created. And we were like, whoa. We are as God created us. We are light, we are love, we are bliss. This is just, I mean, how much more perfect could that get? But given free will, we also said, we didn't say anything horrible. We didn't say, I'm going to do something else. We just said, I wonder what it would be like if we weren't this bliss. I just wonder, just curious. And then our mind said, wait, all thoughts create. So as soon as we wondered what it would be like to be outside of love, all that God is, love, peace, joy, abundance, oneness, all that God is, we said, what would it be like to not be? And that's exactly what we created. All of a sudden, a heaven became a universe. It's called the Big Bang. And the universe became dimensional, which is why we all have dementia. But the universe became dimensional, and planets, and the universe expanding, which sounds wonderful. We're like, oh, the universe is an expanding universe. No, guys. What the universe expanding means is we are growing further and further apart from one another. Goodbye, God. You're going to miss us. And in God, it's like, no, because the real you never left. God did not create beings that could actually leave, but given free will, we can think we left. So the world that we have is one that we're believing. I'm not making this up. When you guys do affirmations, whether you're religious science, unity, whatever you want to call it, when you do affirmations, Christian Science, they're not just nice prayers. When you do affirmation, you're saying them because you're affirming that despite the way things look, here's the truth. You're not kind of just, well, I'm just going to do positive prayer. You are healthy and whole. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're actually affirming the truth. It is the truth. You don't even have a body. You can't be sick. Who told me? Oh, I don't remember. That's not good. Who told me? God. God says so. And if I look at you and see you sick and pray that you're not sick, I'm actually already affirming you're sick. So when I see someone before me, like in the Hawaiian tradition, Ho'oponopono prayer, it is to say, it's impossible. And if I see you as sick, I only have this to say, oops, sorry about that, my bad, I'm paraphrasing, my bad, for a moment I saw you as financially struggling or sick. That is not who you are. Who you really are is made in the image of God, and for that, thank you and I love you. See, that's what the prayer means, and that's what affirmation means. Despite the way things look. Mother Mary looks at her son on the cross, man, and what a horrible moment. You create this child. It's the family, the genetics, the birth, the family, all these various levels of love, and yet seeing him die. In that moment, that human being, that woman and human being was tested to say this: I thought you were going to be a savior to the world, but it didn't happen. Instead, you're dying. Wow, that's so sad. I don't know what to do. Or she's saying, oh my God, this is very challenging. What a test. It looks like my son, who I thought was going to make a difference in this world, isn't. He's going to die, but I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe what my eyes tell me, like all the yogis tell you to get. Don't believe what your senses tell you. This is how it looks as she looks up to her son. She has to say, no, this isn't happening. Not because she's in denial. She has to be saying, there must be something I'm missing. If I believe you're dying, I'm believing my mortal eyes, and my eyes lie to me. What I want to do is see my son beyond what my eyes tell me. And then she sees not a human dying, but a Christ ascending. Despite what I see, and it's the same for us. When you see someone dying literally in a bed, your job isn't to go, oh man, this is really bad. And it gets worse because we don't know what's on the other side. That's not what you would tell them, I hope. I hope what you would say is, you know what, I kind of admire you. Moments from now, you're in this light. And I wish I could see that more viscerally while I'm on this earth. And they're like, oh, pray for me. No, no, no. I will. But I'm going to ask you a favor. When you get there, I would like you to send me some prayers. See what that does to people? They're like, really? Instead of fear, wow. You're that confident that it's good? Yes. And I could do that with absolute sincerity. And that's what Spirit's asking us to do for each other. How do you find your purpose? How do you find your passion? Even when it doesn't look like it's there, I must be missing something, God, so show me. Everything on this planet is a demonstration of our faith. But I don't mean faith like cross your fingers and hope that God comes through. That kind of faith. It's a true faith. When they say faith is this kind of a certainty in things of unseen, it doesn't mean, like hope. It means faith in things unseen means despite the way things look in the seen world, I believe in the unseen. I believe in the powers of spirit, not just humans. So faith is certainly belief in things unseen, but it's a sure thing. It's not, I hope this works out. It's a sure thing. Somehow I'm not seeing it, and what I'm seeing is not true. But that means this, guys. When we say Jesus, the second coming of Jesus, second coming of Christ, it already happened once in the birth and so on, and the manifestation of the Christ in a person, perfectly manifesting, embodying the Christ energy. The second coming of Christ is this. It's for us to pass our tests and learn to see the Christ in each other. The second coming of Christ will not so much be a person as much as our ability to see it in each other. If I cannot see it in you, I will never fully accept it in Jesus or anyone else. Because you are my Jesus for today. You're my Savior today. Now, do I see you as it or do I not? I don't mean my Savior like codependence. I mean, I need to see the Christ in you or I will not know the Christ in me. Oh no, Jesus is coming and he's going to pick up a few of us. And take us. The rest of you can go to hell, Isn't that amazing how we can cuss if it's in the right context? So, but it's true. So if Jesus shows up in your life tonight, I have great news for you. The second coming of Christ is at hand. Really? Are you going to save us? No, 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 no. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to pick up some of us, or you're going to save the world. You're going to make a different president. You're going to 5 presidents. You're going to change the country. You're going to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. You misunderstood. He's going to say, what I meant was, today I'm going to ramp up the volume on your number of tests that you're going to experience every day to be able to see the Christ in others. If you can pass this, you're going to be right up there with me. Seriously? That's all you got for me? There's no when I sleep tonight, you can just download it to me and I wake up a different person. No. If you don't live it, you aren't it. You don't go to heaven, you grow to heaven. You grow in consciousness. There's no shortcuts. There really aren't. I've always said to people that, no. Michael, some of us believe there's an ascension process. There are going to be ships that come to take us. If they wanted you, they'd have been here by now. You didn't make that out either. If you don't have it in here, then you don't have it. There's no place in heaven for semi-enlightened people. You are heaven consciousness or you're not. When the light of God, Judgment Day, you could say, in the Egyptian mythology, those of you who may not know this, in Egyptian mythology, the death process is fairly simple. You die, you pass over, and there are angels or beings that help you look over your records to see how you did. What did you learn and not learn? Typically, we could say in many of our spiritual thought systems, if you didn't learn something, it's okay. You come back and you work on it some more. That's fine. Reincarnation, any viewpoint you might have. The Egyptians, they would just say, you approach these scales. And on the scales, they just say, look, we're going to just put your heart on one end of the scale. Now, the heart means your soul. We're going to weigh your consciousness on one end of the scale. Well, what's going to be on the other end? A feather. If your heart is lighter than a feather, you go into heaven. And if it's not, there's this, in some of the mythologies, there's this crocodile. They throw the heart to the crocodile, it chews it up, and that means you're back, the animal self, you're devoured and you come back to earth again. The moral of the story is, how do I get my heart to be lighter than a feather? No density, no judgments. When my heart holds no judgments anymore, I am enlightened. I don't get to be enlightened, I'm already there. So believe it or not, all this stuff comes back to what's called forgiveness. But not a gratuitous forgiveness, an authentic forgiveness. So it's this. You can't just think about forgiveness or think of the word or work at it so much as when we realize the valuelessness of judgment, we're more forgiving than anything else. You can sit there and squint your eyes and try to behave and try to forgive people. That's nothing compared to actually being judgmental serves no purpose. If God created only good, and I'm choosing to see other than good, and I know it's challenging because if someone kicks you in the leg, walks up and kicks you in the leg, that did not happen. That did not happen. That's not what I'm asking you to do. It's more like saying, despite what you just did, I refuse to hate you. And I'll affirm that there's a light in you, made in the image of God. That's all I know. You kick me again. Okay, I'm going to walk away. That's called boundaries. So you don't kick me again. I'm going to walk away. That's called boundaries. I'm allowed to do that. But if I walk away hating you for kicking me, blaming you, judging you, and I'm a victim, I still don't get it. The world's trying to make you believe that judging will somehow help you improve your life and protect you better than God can. If I just judge some people and get them away because I'm good and they're not, it's not going to help me, but it sounds rational. My job is with boundaries, without. With boundaries I can say goodbye, but my job is to not hate you. I can live with you and see light in you. I cannot live with you and see light in you. My job and my destiny is to see light in you. And the more I live in this consciousness of God consciousness, mind you, the more I live in my center of God consciousness, some things start to happen. Miracles and love are not passive words. They give you the life you're looking for. As much as we could do a seminar on how to create your new life, and you get in there and you do all the work and you make your posters and you make all your deadlines and wow, look at me, I'm succeeding. There's still effort and it's still limited on how far it takes you because you're still only adapting, or rather, let's say behavioral modifications or certain adaptations in your life. I want consciousness changes, not just more money. I can ask for a raise and get more money. I want the consciousness. I want more abundance in my consciousness, not in my checkbook. I want more love in my heart, not romance. So as one person said to me just a day or two ago about relationships, the doing and don't, and how to, Michael, I'm spiritual, and how do I be, act and be spiritual and find people on the same wavelength? You're still thinking in terms of dating. First, be comfortable with who you are. The more comfortable and aware of who you are. Well, yeah, but I'm spiritual, but any time now, shouldn't I have my partner? The apostle said that to Jesus. It was one of the most bizarre things. Hey, Jesus, listen, this is amazing hanging out with you, being the Christ and all that. Like, we've seen you heal people from the dead. We've seen you manifest every kind of imaginable miracle. We really admire you. You mind if we ask you a very important question? Absolutely. What can I do for you? When we die, are there chicks on the other side? That's the kind of stuff they asked him. You got to imagine, once again, why he gets the name Jesus. Like, he must have thought to himself, Jesus, are you kidding me? Are you not listening? Blessed are the meek. Do we have chicks on the other side? Blessed are those who... Do we have chicks? Is that all you can think of? One of them says, when we sit at the table with you and the Father, can I sit closest to you? Like, what is this, a photo op? This is God consciousness. Is that all you can think of? Seriously? And that's all I'm saying here today. We've got to learn to think a bit more deeply than we do. This is not just about bills getting paid and prosperity consciousness. If you die tomorrow and all you learned to do in the New Age spiritual movement is to manifest a little more confidence in getting a date or money to pay a bill, you actually haven't gone that far. But if you manifest a closer connection with God, and that brought you the money to pay your bills and attracted healthier partners, you have changed. And if you get it enough, there's no need for you to even be here. Just like when we recognize judgment serves no purpose, that's why I'm forgiving. Because judgment doesn't really do me any good. It doesn't do anything any good. One reason is, first of all, because it can only bring ill effects. But secondly, it doesn't even make sense. If God created you perfect, what kind of value is there for me to prove that wrong? It doesn't make sense. Oh, no, you give me a minute. I know God created you perfect, but give me a minute. I wouldn't bother. And that's when we learn to be forgiving. It's not just practicing forgiveness, it's recognizing its futility, the futility of judgment. So I'm closing with coming to that place. Of myself, I can do nothing. With God, I can do everything. If God is with me, what could be against me? And it's okay to say, okay, now that I'm spiritual, I might as well just own I'll never date again. That's not true. Anything you could possibly want, but become clear, not perfect. You don't have to become perfect before you date, because then you won't even bother. But, I know, that sounded weird, but hey. You won't even be here. You won't be looking for date. You'll be one with all love. So instead, it's a choice. It's like, I recognize God is all that matters, and I feel God's presence. And I would like to share that with you. It's called a relationship, but it's a holy one. I'm not there to get anything from you, take anything from you. I'm good as I am. How are you feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, you want to share this? And that's kind of beautiful. When you can say in a relationship or job or whatever it is, my cup runneth over, then you're ready for the next step. When you say, I'm empty and I need, you're dangerous. If people would be more honest, hi, there's a new website, emptysouls.com. You know, that's not a healthy site to go looking for dates. But it's the honest one. What if we created one that said mycuprunnethover.com? And that's a dating site. Man, I think that's a sure thing. It's beautiful because it's all interdependent instead of codependent. How we raise our children. Don't go having children to fill your void of in your soul. Don't go and have children because you and your partner don't get along and you thought that might bring you together. If I was your soul, what are you going to name me? Use me now? I'm not interested in that. I had this guidance to name the child Use Me. You know, because the soul's going to come through and bring you together? No. Be together to where it's so organic you can't imagine not extending the love of the two into another. Now the soul, the child, is love extended, just like we are in God. God said, I am, and let there be light. When you want to create a job, get enough in touch with yourself, the soul's purpose and passion. Get enough in touch with yourself, and it happens. I mean, like when I'm standing here, I feel an exuberance sharing. I don't go, well, it's kind of a bummer to be talking to you all, but, you know. And I don't know if the things I'm saying really make any sense or if they're really going to work. That wouldn't be me. I feel an exuberance. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I don't feel, a tiring of it. This is not what I do, it's who I am. If you want to feel passion, as one was requesting, if you want to feel passion, be authentic, be organic, be your true self, and then you can't not feel the passion because your cup runneth over. If you want to know your soul's purpose, your mission in life, it is always this for all of us, to anchor the presence of God in this world. That doesn't mean that's the literal occupation, but whatever occupation you can have where you're doing that, you're doing the right thing. And it doesn't mean forever. You can do that in a lot of different types of jobs where you're anchoring the presence of God. But just make sure you're doing it. Have you made a difference today at all? Have you made a difference in anyone's life? If you didn't, then today was a void and it needs filled. And I would do something, even when you lay in bed to go to sleep. I get it. I didn't really bring spirit to the world today. Oops, my bad. I see it, I get it. I'm learning from that. I can see where I could have done differently, and now I choose the presence of God again. Every misdeed or misthought can be switched in seconds by choice. So remember, we chose to exercise free will to make believe we were separate from love. But all we were doing was make believing. We've never left God. But if we're identified with our limited self, we will not know that we're actually still in heaven. You can only know heaven, God, and all that God is when you start identifying with your spiritual self. It's very simple. Split personality again. There's a spiritual me, there's a human me. The Bible says, choose whom ye will serve, God or manna, reality or illusion. Choose. And when you choose to identify with spirit and affirm spirit in others, even when they're not acting like it, you're passing your tests and you will see the benefits of that. When you don't, when you believe the wrinkles are adding depression and you don't feel happy and you're getting older and money isn't what you want and partnership isn't what you want, you're believing that, then you're choosing to believe in your human self. The weak, ego-based human self. With that comes its results. When you don't know which one you're choosing, I'm not really sure. You can know just by looking at your life. If things are blissful and connecting, you know you made healthy decisions. At the end of any day, look at the end of any day. How did today feel? Oops. Sometimes there's a few oops and a few great moments. But the ones that weren't so good, I will not let them end that way. I can shift them in my mind. Remember that everything we experience in life is a test for either waking up or going to sleep. Every one of them. So if you can endure through the choices we've made, forgive ourselves and others when it looks like we have gone to sleep. How do we know? Because there's lack, limitation, pain, judgment, or whatever. When we've done it, own it. If I don't, the world will bring me what's called a crucifixion. All of my unhealed wounds crucify me regularly. I am not to be crucified. I am to resurrect if I'm the Christ. And I am the Christ. Any one of us that chooses. We're the Christ whether we choose it or not. But to recognize it, to accept it, to experience it is our choice. So remember, when your ego tells you you've been married too many times, you can never bounce back into it, that's a lie, it's a crucifixion, and you're buying it. When you thought you just divorced once and you broke your heart, it broke your heart because you thought it was forever, it's a crucifixion. When you thought sickness you would never have, it's a crucifixion. When you had bills you couldn't pay and you lost your job, when you lost the business you started, when your children didn't grow up the way you hoped them to be, or to grow up, when they ended up addictions or they passed away, those are all crucifixions of this world trying to tell you that there is not God. Our job is to say, this is painful, it's horrible. It's okay to say that because it does feel that way. But at some point, say to yourself, this too shall pass. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not give in to this because God is with me. 23rd Psalm. I refuse to buy what this is selling me. Somehow, it's not true, even though it feels true, looks true. My senses are lying to me. God, I'm not seeing things as you see them. Please show me how. And that's a choice. Free will is not just my ability to choose. Free will is actually only when I choose to exercise my will to experience freedom. It's not just I can choose. It's when I'm choosing freedom is free will. I'm willing to choose freedom. I'm willing to choose the truth of God. So be like the Christ when you feel crucified, when you feel, I can't get up anymore. You know those moments, man. A breakup, a divorce, a loss of a job, you're curled up in bed or somewhere going, I don't even have the energy left. Find it in you to say, Lazarus, come forth. Get up. Well, I can't. Things aren't going my way. Right, you died. I'm sorry. I lost my job. That's a death. I'm sorry, I know that hurts. Give yourself some sympathy. Give yourself, what would you like, honey? Some hot chocolate, some warm bubble bath. Let's do that and let's soothe for a minute. But at some point, get up. The mother aspect of God in us says, honey, come here. The father says, go. Move. Because you can't stay spiritually paralyzed for too long. because then you're destroying yourself. No matter what the world did, that hurt you, now you're hurting yourself. Unacceptable. Now, I'm not saying to be hard on yourself. Hold yourself when you need. It's okay. Get the sympathy, get the love, get the comfort. But at some point, say to those who need it, say to yourself, Lazarus, come forth. You can do this. But I can't. My marriage ended and I can't believe I can love again. They passed away. It's terrible. I can't believe it. I know. We didn't say rush into relations. We just said get up and move. Go for a walk today. Ask God to be with you. My parents weren't nice to me. What parents? My mom and dad. Wait, God is your parent. The others you rented. That's all. God is your parent. Did you forget that? Forgive yourself for forgetting that and get up and move. Remember, the mother aspect of God holds you, nurtures you, and says, I'm sorry that happened. But the father aspect says, it's time to move now. And both are needed in healing. Sometimes one more than another, and I would always revert to the mother first. Comfort, understanding, always first. There. Affection, all those beautiful things. Then there's time to say, now, let's go. Time for a new job. Time for a new life. Time for a new career, soul's purpose, partnership, or just to feel good again. Get up. Please take a few centering breaths. Put aside the stuff of the world. It's by choice. Put aside the stuff of the world. And reflect on anything you heard today that made sense. Even if it was one simple thing, or if nothing in the talk made sense. Something you heard in the song, the tone of the singer's voice, the person you sat by, the hug in the foyer. Anything that you experienced this morning that made sense, that felt good in any way, healthy way. Soak it in for a moment. Don't let it be an experience you had. Let it be an awareness that you've become. This is mine. The happiness I felt when I met that person, that old friend, or that new friend. This can be every day in my life and then some. I really admire how healthy that person looks. That's mine. That person looks very prosperous. That's mine. They're all things I have denied in myself. The same as if I see criticisms and fault findings, they're mine. So grab things that made sense today, soak them in and make them yours. If you don't, it's called worshiping false gods, because you're admiring things outside, coveting things outside, but not accepting them inside. They are me, and they're available to me, and that's so nice. And soaking those in. And then one more part of the exercise. Let's imagine there's no one else in this room today. This is actually a meditation you're experiencing. You're sitting in bed or at home somewhere, wherever you would like to be when you meditate. So imagine you're there. Make believe that you're there meditating, praying. And you're dreaming or having a vision that you're in this room with someone speaking up here and a group full of people. What is the feeling in the room? Well, I don't know, because it's all different people. I don't know them. I don't know what they're feeling. You do. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel that we're really appreciating each other? Can't you feel that we laughed together and some of us cried in the room together today? Can't you feel that some people heard something like that it's okay to take time when you're hurting to be held? There's a wow factor to that. It means everything to some people, so let's soak that in. The baby that's us. And the speaker on the stage, or the person, singing spiritual songs. But the speaker on the stage, who's that? There is no, it's you. So imagine everything I saw, heard, experienced is actually a dream, as though it's someone else, but it's me. If I didn't like what the guy's saying, I wonder what that represents. But if I did like it, let's say I liked it a lot, it means that I'm that much closer. If I really thought this guy had it and what he was saying was right, it means that I'm getting there. He could not be speaking these truths in front of me if there weren't a part of me that was waking up to them. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for my choices. I'm getting it now. And I no longer see things as separate. I choose not to see them as separate. They're all mirroring things for myself. And the unloving things represent my unhealed wounds and patterns. I do accept that to a new level now, and I give it to you, God. Help me to forgive myself for such choices. And all the beautiful things I also absorb now. These are parts of self-love. They could only be in my life because I'm getting closer to you, Father, Mother, God. And for that, I'm so grateful. Spend the last half minute continuing to absorb the gratitude now, as was sung before the talk today. Gratitude. Gratitude for what? For what I heard, for what I felt, the eye contact with each other, the smiles, the laughter, the hugs, or whatever people experience. For all of it, for this experience, this room, to have this space available, to have these experiences available. Some places don't have it, but we must have thought well and created well, because we do have it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Gratitude, gratitude. And I might even add this: don't open your eyes until you smile inside and out. Then you'll know you really found true gratitude. And if it takes your eyes staying closed until another song is sung, then do it. But at least for another half minute, dwell in gratitude for who we are, and that we are all committed to waking up, and now sooner than later. Half a minute, and then we'll move into the next part of the service.
Me not away from thy presence, O Lord. Take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Return to me the joy of thy and renew a right spirit within me. Create in me a new heart, O Lord my God, and renew a glory.